and welcome to episode 9 of the podcast known as The Life I'm Lovin'. I am your host, Vincent. This little lady to my left is Scarlett. So thank you guys very much for coming back, listening to the podcast. Like I said last episode, we're now 2 months into this bad boy. Hopefully getting better, possibly getting worse. I agree, we're doing great, aren't we? Yes, that's the energy I'm looking for. Especially today. You know, everyone goes through these peaks and valleys in life. My week has been a little on the downside. You know, there's times where something happens and it feels negative. And then something else happens and it feels negative. And then something else happens and it feels negative. And everything sucks. Not everything, but a lot of things suck. Your mind plays games with you. My mind has been playing games with me the past week. Every single day it seems like something just gets thrown in my face where it's like, why this week? You know, of course you have to think, why not this week? Of course this is a test. Of course these things are going to keep happening to you. They're going to push you to your breaking point. Your job is to stay strong. Your job is to understand how much your body can handle. Maybe take a chill pill every now and then. Yesterday I was planning on doing some overtime at work. Couldn't do it. I clocked out. I went to bed, laid there. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix with Scarlett. It was marvelous. And so today, I was hit with some more negative news, but it didn't affect me as much as I think it would have if I didn't pull myself away from the action and just get away and watch television in bed. To me, I think that kind of reset my energy, reset my mind, put me in a zone that made me feel like I did not want to go back to where I was before. And so I feel like I'm on the tail end of that. But today's episode, I just wanted to express those negative feelings and give you guys tidbits as to how I overcame my brain in a lot of ways. Yes, Scarlett, you are a huge help, and I thank you very much every single day for your little gruffs. Yes, much appreciated. I understand how important you are to this family. So one of the main items is that my grandma had surgery this past weekend. Something had happened a couple days prior, and you know, we went to the hospital the day after, and that day they're like, you know, surgery needs to be done. We're going to see if we can get it done as soon as possible. And they were able to get it done the next day. That's great. She's healthy. She is stronger than ever. We went to visit her a couple days ago, and she just kept talking and eating her food and was in such good spirits for a 91-year-old who just had surgery. And it made me feel terrible because I wish I was that positive about her surgery. From my point of view, surgeries can go many ways, and hers was a little more serious. And so as optimistic as I tried to be, my mind was playing games with me, preparing me for negative outcomes. I guess that's good. I guess I won't be surprised. But at the same time, it did take its toll on me. And that was a big factor as to why my week went the way it went. And so listening to her tell stories of her childhood while eating her food, in my head, I was just like, listen to this woman. Listen to how happy she is, how excited she is to get through this surgery and to keep moving forward with her life. Why can't I shake this? And I think it's just because I keep thinking about it. It keeps coming back to me. And I think it's wearing itself down as the days go on, but it still lingers. One of the things that had happened the night before her surgery was I had a dream. Shout out MLK. Not like that, but it was a dream that really stuck out to me. It's one of those dreams that wakes you up. It's one of those dreams that seems really weird while you're going through it. And people go through thousands of dreams per night. You know, I don't have the stats on me, but people dream copious amounts of things every night, even if they remember them or not. I do not dream often. I can go to sleep very easily. Like when I'm tired, I will fall asleep. Doesn't matter where I am, doesn't matter what I'm holding, doesn't matter where I'm sitting or standing. If I'm tired, I can probably go to sleep. Really cool in most situations. So the night before her surgery, obviously I was thinking a lot. A lot of thoughts were running through my mind. While I was visiting her and while this was going on, I was also thinking about the podcast. I was thinking about the quality of work I was producing, how I'm going to produce better work the next week, how the planning is going to go. But my time was also being taken to the hospital. And at the same time, work is getting busy, so I'm working more overtime. And also at the same time, I need to stay healthy, I need to work out. And so my mind was just cluttered with how am I going to get everything done every day? And so I think the night before her surgery was when my brain was at its peak in terms of craziness. And so I went to sleep and I had a dream. And this episode is going to be about that, as well as what followed in the days after. So at night, fell asleep. Great start to the story, of course. And into dreamland I went. So my dream began at my childhood home. I lived there until I was 16. It's a longhouse, one story, but for some reason it had a lot of windows on one side of the house, looking out onto the street and then looking across the street to the other houses. So just think about a long strip of home with all window, facing the street, facing across the street. And I was just minding my business in my house. And I looked out the window and I saw maybe like 5 or 6 people staring at me with binoculars from the house across the street. Weirdest thing, creepiest thing. And so I was sitting there looking out the window, looking at these people looking at me with binoculars. And I look down and I look back and they're still staring. And so I don't know why I did this, but to my left was a telescope, like a pirate's telescope. And so here I go, fire with fire, turn and I look at them through my telescope and I see them walking towards me now. Okay, so in my mind, I'm thinking, how creepy is this? I recall in my dream, I'm thinking like, how creepy is this? These people who've been staring at me with binoculars are now walking towards the house that I'm in. As creeped out as I was, it doesn't feel like I was afraid, because my reaction was to walk over to the front door to go outside and see who was coming over. And so I walk over to the door, open the door, And I go outside, and I saw a gentleman that looked like a character from a Netflix show that Jen and I are watching called From Scratch. Zoe Saldana's in it. Pretty great show, not gonna lie. And her love interest is an Italian gentleman named Lino. And I walked over to the person who was coming into my house, and he started speaking Italian. I don't know what he said, but it made me think, oh, this is Lino. And he started laughing, and we started having a good time. It was so weird. And once I found that out, that part of the dream subsided. Because I think I was more relieved than creeped out. I overcame the creepiness of a potential nightmare, perhaps. Maybe if I hadn't seen the show, it would have been really weird. Like, why is an Italian man walking into my home? This wasn't the case. I was like, hey, this guy's a celebrity. Let's invite him in. He'll make some pasta. He's a great cook in the show. Definitely recommend you guys watch the show. It's actually really good. And so that part of the dream subsided. You know, the one part that really stuck out was those people staring at me with binoculars. It was really creepy for a moment. And then we fast forward. I don't know if this is the same dream or another dream that I just whirled into. I hadn't woken up between these two. It just kind of one and then the other. So fast forward, I'm in the back of a Jeep with Jen. Jen is with me. I'm on the right side of the back of the Jeep. Jen's on the left side. There's a man driving the Jeep. And it feels like we're in some sort of Amazon forest. He's going really fast. It felt like we were being kidnapped. You know, it felt like we were in there when we didn't want to be, and this man was taking us somewhere. We weren't tied or blindfolded. We were just sitting in the back. But again, the feeling was like something is not right here. We are not supposed to be in this vehicle. The kidnapper looked like Josh Brolin, who plays Cable in the Deadpool movie. Cable is some sort of future cyborg. He's got one robot eye, a regular eye. He's got parts of him that are metal, parts of him that aren't. But he had that gray comb over and that Josh Brolin look. And I'm thinking it was him in the dream. I just can't confirm it 100%. But then the end of it really made me think, okay, this might be Josh Brolin as Cable from Deadpool 2. And so he was driving this car really fast. Out of nowhere, I look to my left. And my mom is outside of the car, kind of waiting for us. At that point, it's no longer a jungle. It's like a desert. And she's outside the car, and we're almost passing by her on the left-hand side. So you have me on the right side, Jen on the left side of the Jeep. You got Cable in the driver's seat. And then my mom is like standing probably like 10 feet from the car on the left side. And we're passing by her. And it felt like we should escape. It felt like this was the time to GTFO of there. And so out of nowhere, the car starts spinning clockwise. But it's spinning really slow. I don't know if the car is spinning slow or if my mind like slowed down time so that I can time when to get out of the vehicle. But the thought was, we need to jump out of this car. And so I can see where my mom is as the car is spinning. And at this point, the back of the Jeep that Jen and I are sitting in is no longer a bench. It's two seats with an opening to the back of the Jeep, like the trunk area. And the trunk area has 2 doors on the back that are open. So the scene is set up for an epic escape. So as I'm looking at my mom and I'm looking around, I look at my mom again, and Jen's already out of the car next to my mom. She's already jumped out of the car. I'm taking way too much time over here, really setting my feet, getting myself ready for the epic jump. She just waltzed on out, did a little dance, stop, drop, and roll status. But she's already out there, like, waiting for me to come out, and I'm just over here stalling as this car is spinning out of control as we're being kidnapped by Cable from Deadpool 2. And so at that point, all the drama left my body. I just walked out of the Jeep. I literally, the car was going so slow that I timed it where my mom and Jen were right in front of the exit area, the trunk of the Jeep. And so I just walked out of the Jeep, plopped myself onto the dirt next to them, and all of a sudden the car flips, explodes, fire, everything is happening. Jen and my mom are okay. I'm okay. And so at that point, I walk over to the other side of the flipped over Jeep, and Cable is laying there. And he looks like he's dying. And his left eye, which is now a regular eye, it's no longer a cyborg eye. It looks like a regular eye until his left eye opens, like not the eyelids, but his actual eye from the pupil opens out like an automatic sliding door at the mall, just kind of opens, and then another eye comes out of the opening and falls onto the floor. And at that point, there's nothing left coming out of his eye. It just looks hollow and red. The little dance that eye did for me was done. And at that point, I was like, okay, I think it's time to wake up now. So I wake up and it's 4 a.m. In my mind, just witnessing some of the most eye-tacular dreams of my life, I couldn't sleep. I was like, why is everyone looking at me? Why is the eye coming out of the eye and then that eye is falling out onto the floor? I had so many questions. So where do you turn when questions need answers? You pick up your phone and you call Google. So Google I called, and the things that were coming back to me, of course, someone looking at me, not someone looking at me, many people looking at me. And as much as I was afraid, I looked back at them. Then you have the eye of Deadpool 2's Cable, played by Josh Brolin, doing a little jig for me. So I looked those things up. Google took me to an article that mentioned a gentleman named Carl Jung. He's one of the most famous dream theorists out there. And he believed that the symbols in our dreams are actually a language. He calls the language of the soul. Subtle, I know. Language of the soul. Scarlett, do you know anything about the language of the soul? Don't sigh at me. I'm asking if you know about the language to the soul. Yeah, I see you. I see you kicking around when you're sleeping. I see you, your little... When you're dreaming, when you're in Dreamtown. What do you dream about? Throwing house parties when we're not home? Wishing that you had opposable thumbs so you can let your friends in that live around the area. And we get home at 3, so that's plenty of time to party until the cows come home, and then you can let your friends out the back while we pull up in the garage? Oh, you're just dreaming about treats. Treats and chicken. Raining treats and chicken while running in a field of flowers. That sounds beautiful, Scarlett. Yeah, we should try it sometime. I'll put that on our extracurricular activity options list. Yes, the list exists. Don't be like that. Anyway, I looked up 2 things primarily. Not just that I was being watched, because that's one thing. Feeling like you're being watched is one thing. Knowing that you're being watched and seeing the people watching you, to me, was another world. Because as much as I was creeped out, like I said before, I fought fire with fire. I looked right into their soul as well. And so, not just being watched, but knowing that you're being watched, according to the Google documents I found regarding dreams, correlates to feeling under scrutiny in real life. Self-conscious and insecure. Now, I know that when it comes to things like this, you always think about, okay, they say things that are so broad that things have to come to mind that make sense in your life. That's understandable. Like I said, I don't dream often. Having this dream at that point in my life, to me, it was for a reason. So when I think of feeling under scrutiny in real life, feeling self-conscious and insecure, I think about the podcast. I think about thinking of new ideas for the podcast, where I am going with the podcast. It's hard for me because as much as I'm telling myself, just be consistent and make these episodes, there's a story about Shaquille O'Neal when he first joined Inside the NBA on TNT. When he first started the show, he tried to one-up himself every single night. Every single night he would try to think of something funnier than the night before. And during the regular season, he was doing shows, I want to say 3 to 4 times a week. So you think about that for an entire NBA season, which is about October to June. So you're thinking about maybe 7-8 months. 4 nights a week, every week, besides maybe All-Star Weekend and the playoffs. It's not possible to keep one-upping yourself. It might be possible, but it's going to be dang near impossible to keep going. And I think that's where my mind is at, is trying to make every episode better than the last one, but also understanding that just record, get them out there, and your flow will come. Things will get better. You'll figure out where you want to go in time. Doesn't have to be figured out now. You don't have to overthink this. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be doing what you love. You're only on episode 9. Don't start being you now. And so that part of the dream checked off. It wasn't just a creepy random dream, my mind playing tricks on me and trying to freak me out. I acknowledge what that part of the dream was there for, and that made me feel better. That made me feel like it wasn't just a scary dream, and if I go back to sleep, it's going to happen again. I found the why, and I accepted that why. And so, again, I feel like I checked off that part of the dream, Again, this is at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get back to sleep at this point. And so I started looking up dream number 2. And the emphases of each dream was being looked at, being watched. The second one to me was the eye. Cable's eye opening up, another eye coming out, falling. To me, those were the moment of each dream where I was like, okay, my brain really fixated on these things. Let's get to the bottom of these things. So the eye falling out, not my eye falling out, but someone else's eye falling out, correlates with fear, insecurity, feeling overwhelmed. My brain, a lot of the times, will head to the worst case scenario in a lot of situations, especially if they're negative. Because again, my brain is going to prepare me for the worst so that anything lesser than that is a win, quote unquote. My grandma's surgery, that was technically a few hours from then, made me feel fear. A lot of fear. 91-year-old going into surgery. I know my grandma's tough. I know my grandma's one of the toughest people in the world. Toughest people I know. But even people with the best medical care, who take care of themselves so well, things happen. And I was scared. But me looking up this part of the dream, the emphasized part of the dream, allowed me to accept where the dream came from. There wasn't some dark sorcerer picking on me. It was my brain telling me what I was feeling was probably too much. I was overthinking it. So after I looked up my dreams, I wrote them down, and I went back to sleep pretty fast. The surgery went great, and we went to visit my grandma the next day. And she was in such great spirits. It was amazing. She was eating her chicken dinner with apple stuffing and carrots, with her chicken soup, and she told us stories about her life the entire couple hours that we were there. She's a lot stronger than I am. That's for dang sure. Because even after that, I was still having those feelings linger in my soul. But it subsided. And I've been talking to my mom. My mom is saying that she's doing great. And so that part of the negativity that has been ruling over me the past few days is going away. Another part of the negativity that I've been going through, and you might think this is childish, you might think that this is unnecessary. One of my favorite NFL players ever, Jason Kelce, center for the Philadelphia Eagles for the past 13 seasons, announced his retirement on Monday. Now, I was working from home, so I had it up on YouTube and I was waiting for it to come on. It was supposed to come on, I think at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I had it on the YouTube channel that it was going to show, and it was like, stand by, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It was like the waiting room, but for YouTube. And all of a sudden, it goes away from the waiting room screen and it moves to a visual of the press conference that he called for. And he walks up and he's wearing sandals, sweats, t-shirt that's cut off on the arms. Many people will say that that's my trademark attire. And the man spoke straight from the soul for 10 to 11 straight minutes. He talked about his childhood, he talked about college, he talked about his first couple years in the NFL, he talked about his best years in the NFL, he talked about meeting his wife, he talked about his brother, he talked about his family, his friends, all of his coaches that helped him out. He was crying the entire time, trying to get out words, feeling moments a little harder than others. The moment he announced his retirement was so sad. I was crying too. I had both hands cupping face to not allow tears to hit the floor type of crying. Now you might think that that's childish. And I didn't really think about it throughout the time that I was watching the Eagles. But during that press conference, I realized that in a lot of ways, he is someone that I strive to be like. Him and his brother have a podcast. It's called New Heights. Take a listen. It's a great podcast. He is a family man. Great family man. Very well spoken. Made a killer speech. Very heartfelt. And he has fun. You guys look up Jason Kelce. There's going to be some fun photos on there. He jumped through a table that was on fire. He made a golden trophy of a baby. You gotta look it up to know what I'm talking about. Golden baby trophy. He created that. He has 2 Christmas albums that he created with his 2 fellow linemen on the Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. Fun fact, since I started recording my initial episodes that I didn't post on Spotify in November, December area, my intro, instead of the song that you hear now, was that Christmas album. Now, for copyright reasons, I didn't feel comfortable using it on these episodes. But I love the music, and it calmed me down while I was in the beginning stages of my podcasting process, if you will. And so I don't think I've ever had like a hero. I love Marvel, but I never considered any of them my hero. I just thought that they were really cool and, you know, superpowers are sick. What up? And I always liked Shaq. But I think there were aspects of his life I was like, okay, you know, this guy's cool, but he's not it. The Undertaker from WWE was just, again, really cool. Not a guy I strive to be like on a day-to-day basis. My grandpa was my hero in a lot of ways. My dad is also someone that, in a lot of ways, I try to emulate. But after this retirement and after really looking back on what I witnessed in terms of his football career and listening to New Heights every single week, every single Wednesday, seeing him and his brother get along so well, seeing him and his family have so much fun being who they are, handling the spotlight like straight up G's. But his retirement also shook me up. Because it was just, you know, if what had happened with my grandma did not happen the day before, it probably wouldn't have affected me as much. But it was the snowball effect. It was going down the hill, it was picking up steam, and it just kept going. We're days away from the anniversary of a very tough time in my life as well. The anticipation of that day coming is also affecting me. And I feel like every day is gonna be a little scarier until that day is here. And then that day will pass, and I think I'll feel a lot better. But I'm excited for Jason. I'm excited to see what he does with the Philadelphia Eagles. I know he's not going to go anywhere. He wants to be a coach. He wants to be some sort of advisor, something where he can help out the team in as many ways as possible. He's still got the podcast, which I am taking a good amount from and not taking it, straight. That's exactly how I want my podcast to be like. But in a lot of ways, their laid back attitude, their humor, their ability to just kind of vibe off of each other is kind of the vibe that Scarlett and I are striving for. So, Scarlett, in a lot of ways, you're not only my daughter, you are my sister as well. And so, yesterday was the day where I was planning on doing overtime, and I just decided to work my 8 hours and call it because my mind was just too much going on in there. So I went to bed. Scarlett and I watched some Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. I recommend it. Don't think too much into it. Aang in the show is like 10 or 11 in real life, which he is in the show as well. So, cut the kid some slack in terms of his acting. But it's not bad. I'd give it a shot. I still think the animated series is better, but I think as the seasons go on, it'll get better. Trust. And today, I feel a lot better. I do. Today I feel, instead of multiple things are weighing me down, the anticipation of that day is the only thing that's left. But at the same time, it's going to come and it's going to go. And I know that. So if you get anything from this episode, it's you don't have to fight through everything that is having a negative impact on you. Sometimes listening to it, understanding it, feeling it, and accepting that maybe stepping away and relaxing for a bit, calming your mind down, is all you need. Not everything has to be powered through. Not everything has to be overpowered. Just sit back and allow the feelings to flow through you. Understand where they're coming from. It worked for me these past couple days. Also, having a little Scarlett by your side that won't leave you alone is definitely helpful. I know I won't forget it. So thank you guys very much for listening. I don't dream often, but I thought it was a really cool episode to do. So let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you didn't enjoy it. Because we accept all opinions here, don't we, Scarlett? Yes, we do. Don't be like that. We accept all opinions here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let her fool you. So with that being said, I want you guys to have a great night. Have some great drinks, eat some great food, be around great company. Allow yourself to accept that you're feeling down. And allow yourself to get away. Relax. Allow yourself to heal in time. Heal with your loved ones. Yes, Scarlett, I love you. You are a loved one. When I said that, I was referring to you as well. I have more than one person in my life. I have Jen, your mother. She so cares about me. Folks, I'm going to sign off now before Scarlett keeps barking out-of-pocket things. So please, continue to love the life you're living. Take care.